studying for all the tests that you have this week, and therefore it's you had to make a very difficult decision as to, do I attend or do I study? Or anyway, everybody well? Everybody good? I'm not. I've got flu. I know of many others who are in the same situation. I can only say keep on taking your vitamins and get what I got a nice vitamin B injection on Friday. That's that one that hits, and then immediately within 5 seconds turns into a purple patch, and it varies in color over the next couple of days. It hurts, but it's necessary because my iron levels was depleted. And I think that's usually when we feel tired and run down, like a lot of us do at this point. The main reason, because we don't produce, the body does not produce enough iron at the rate or to balance out the rate at which we actually use it. Anyway, this is not a exercise science or a physiology lecture or a nutritional or supplementation lecture. Chapter 6 that will start today, and I have good confidence that within the period now, the extra one we've scheduled and the last period that we have today, that we actually will be able to finish chapter 6. It's not a long chapter. It's not a difficult one either. It deals with brand contact planning and contact. Let me find out from you guys first. If I talk about brand contact, what do you think brand contact refers to? Anybody? Give it a shot in the dark. There's no right or wrong answer here.
So is it like the communication between them and their customers?
Yes, Lilani, and but not just limited to communication. Any form of contact between the brand or the business the business that represents the brand and their stakeholders. It could be suppliers, it could be customers, and also the reverse, the contact points that they have with the brand or with the business. So you spot on, but it's not limited just to verbal communication itself. The chapter basically stands on the following foundations. We're going to be looking at what the nature of brand contact is. We pretty much have sort of already identified that with Alani's feedback. We're going to be looking at brand contact planning, what it is, the mindset of brand contact planning, contact cohesion, and then the 5 phases of brand contact planning process. Basically, as we have said already, it refers to or a point of contact is any moment where the brand performs or expresses itself, and through that, those actions or expressions, they influence what the stakeholders think and feel and believe about them, to form the perception in the perceptual space of the customer. Basically, everything that you do, it happens from the first point that you make contact with the brand, right up to the last point that you make contact with the brand. Let's take an example, for instance. You book in, you check in for a booking that you've made to stay at a hotel. You're going away for the Easter weekend. You were fortunate enough to realize many months ago already that Easter, and therefore you decided to book a trip away. And now you have arrived at the hotel that you've made the reservation with, and you're at check-in. immediately when you walk through that door. Actually, it even starts in the parking lot outside. Your first impression, I mean, is the parking convenient? Is there security in the parking? Is there, what's your first impression when you basically walk through the gates or when you enter the premises of the hotel? Very often, if the hotel is in an urban area, it would be the concierge at the entrance. You walking into the reception area. Your first impression, the atmosphere, the vibe, everything. That is your first impression, and your first point of contact is a non-verbal one in that one. But it becomes a verbal one immediately when you speak to the person who is at the reception desk. So that's your first point of contact. Anybody or any action that done to you as the customer during your stay there, room service, the people making your bed every morning, what other sort of, I haven't been in a hotel for recently, so what other services that maybe you're dining in for breakfast, everybody that's the waiter that waits on your table there. Eventually, when you check out after your stay, that is the final point of contact there, where you actually swipe your card and pay. Everything, all those actions, every single point of contact with somebody representing the brand, that either leaves a positive or a negative impact on you and influences how you feel about the brand. And that's what, if we go back to the previous slide, the last point, the brand cohesion. That's what the brand cohesion is about. Your total brand image or experience that you have with the brand relies on every single point of contact contribution, and some are good and some are better. What every business is striving for is a cohesion and a consistency in the quality that is delivered to the customer at every single point of contact. Right. So keep an eye on my clock here. Right. So let's take Starbucks for instance. Anybody have local experience of Starbucks in South Africa, similarly with the brand maybe abroad somewhere? And what have your experience been?
I've noticed that they just sell coffee, and I don't like coffee, so I'm not gonna buy from them. It's just, if you buy Starbucks and you tell them you don't want coffee in it, then like what's the point of going there? Because you pay like this 70 Rand for coffee, and it's just really expensive.
Quite right. That's so true, Rebecca. And I think our experience, or the experiences that we have, I have never had Starbucks until the first time I went to the States. It was one of those, just flew in. It was early morning arrival, check-in at the hotel. That was all done by about 8:30, 9-ish in the morning. And although you've been on a 23-hour flight, you're actually okay. You're actually stoked to be there. You're excited, and everything's new to you, and you want to drink in as much as possible, and you want to do as much as possible. And lo and behold, I was I don't know, by chance, although I did some proper research beforehand, but you'd never really know until you arrived there. The hotel that I booked in was a 3-star hotel. It was literally a block away from the Empire State Building, which is, I mean, you look out the window, you see the Empire State Building. You actually can't, because I mean, it's much taller, so you're too close to it to actually see the top of the Empire State from your hotel room. But walking out it was a buzz. It was about 5 minutes, no, more closer to 10 minutes walk to Times Square. But immediately when I came out of the hotel and I took a left, within 20 meters, there was a Starbucks right on the corner. And I thought, you know what, this is America. Starbucks are one of these things, or one of those iconic brands that we see in movies, and that up to that point I've only seen in movies. Let's give it a go. But it was a sweltering hot day. It was somewhere in July. It was one of I think it was a heat wave to hit Manhattan. And I thought, you know what? I love my coffee, but I'm more sort of give me a small backstreet typical coffee shop type of vibe. I'm not into mug and beans and these branded coffee houses, so to speak. I was reluctant, however, it's Starbucks. Not much should go wrong. Because it was hot, I decided to go for iced coffee. I had iced coffee before. I was so disappointed. Firstly, the first point of contact, it looks very nice. I mean, it's well lit. It's the flow inside is good. There's a buzz. You can see that people are on their third or second coffee, and the caffeine's kicking in now. Everybody is well. That's the whole of Manhattan pretty much. It never stops. Anyway, so I took my iced coffee and I thought, no, this is just dark brown ice water. I couldn't get, and as I said, I'm not a I don't like my coffee to be too strong, but at least it should taste like coffee. I found it very difficult, and it's not that it was actually standing there and some of the ice could have melted and diluted the liquid. It just doesn't. I thought, really, is this what people are all about? Because everybody up and down, they have an iced coffee in their hands. I don't know. I thought, wow, maybe this is the thing. Very disappointed. Very, very, very disappointed. Tried one later on again in San Diego. Better experience, but they were actually decided to take a seat outside and sort of have a difficult coffee shop experience. But no, they are there for the people who need a Wi-Fi hotspot, have a cup of coffee while they're there, and who's not going to hang around there the whole day. As opposed to me going to a coffee shop in France, for instance, where I sat at a coffee shop in France just off the Champs-Élysées for at least 6 hours, I think, one day I was there. It was just so, it was a very nice experience. It was a different experience and more sort of an authentic type of coffee shop, and just a variety of people there. And maybe it's a total different vibe. I don't know what your motivation is to go to a coffee shop, but mine is to actually sit back and relax. And I know some people prefer to do business there because it's nice and quick. You quickly have something to eat and talk business and whatever. I don't know. I prefer to do business elsewhere and not in that kind of environment. But anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'm just very old school when it comes to those kind of experiences. But that's. I would like to not limit my time when I'm there. I don't want to feel rushed. I don't want to be rushed. But I know that was exactly the opposite. That's maybe why I did not like the Starbucks experience, because it was almost just like, okay, right, this is a conveyor belt. Get your stuff and go. We don't want you to hang around for too long. And maybe it was just that particular one. Maybe it's different elsewhere, but there's a consistency that I picked up that I'm not very happy with. I'm not sure. I mean, what motivates you to go to a coffee shop? Why do you go to a coffee shop? Because you can have coffee at home.
Well, I go with my mom like before like shopping. Then we find like what's it called? Peacock. It was called
Yeah,
when
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and beans. We have one here in Checkers where like it's a nice and beans, and then you like take yourself a coffee and then a slice of apple cake or like the mini sausage rolls, and just like chat to my mom, gossip a little bit, and then go do shopping. And it's just like then the because sometimes if you go shopping while you're hungry, then you're gonna buy unnecessary things.
Yeah.
We like kind of have like a little snack and some coffee before. Well, I take a rooibos cappuccino because I don't like coffee. I like rooibos, but yeah, it's the little bit of conversation and just filling up before going to shopping and just spending time with the person you're going with.
And you're quite right, because and that's pretty much I think that's what I would like to experience as well. You go there with somebody, even if you're on your own. I mean, in Paris, I was on my own, and I actually wanted to just observe people. It was not intentional, but it actually turned out later that I could use a lot of the evidence that I collected on the day for my thesis that I was busy writing at that stage. On consumer behavior and the different behavioral patterns. But still, I mean, I don't want to feel rushed. I don't think at the moment, the phase of my life I'm in now, I'll be able to sit there the whole day. It's almost as if there's so much to do that you actually don't want to miss out on anything. But yeah, sorry, Rebecca.
No, it's fine. Sorry. So you sat at the cafe for 6 hours. Did the waitress like ask you like, "Are you done?" or like, "How long?"
No, that's the thing. I mean, I know that some businesses now, we're talking here about contact interaction with the brand has with the stakeholders, and also the stakeholders with the brand. And my experience in Starbucks was that there's a waitress that, firstly, most of it is self-service, but those who do have a layout that allow you to sit where there's little tables. Again, there's the ratio of waiters to customers is not your typical sort of coffee shop, because a lot of people go up to the counter, they look at the menu, they order, and they take whatever they've bought to a table to sit down. When we are used to taking a seat first and waiting for the waiter to come to you. So there are ones, and I've been to both. The one in San Diego was slightly more relaxed and slightly more traditional coffee shop type of vibe, where people, I initially went up because I've become known to, that's how they do it. So I went up to the counter, I ordered what I wanted, I took it to my table, I sat down, I started relaxing. After a while, I would say half an hour or so, when obviously it's obvious that my coffee is finished, somebody actually came up to me and said, "Can I get you another one, sir?" or something else maybe. And that's the norm. But I got the idea that in Starbucks it was exactly the opposite. It was, you help yourself and you walk when you go, because you've paid already. The 6 hours that I've spent, I was never, the waitress came up regularly to check if I'm still okay, whatever, but never did she gave me the impression that, you know what, you're taking a seat of maybe somebody else. It was, okay, let's just try. We have a customer. The customer is not just ordering a $1 cup of coffee and then that's all that they will have for the rest of the day. I did spend money there, more than I probably intended initially, but I never felt that that they want me to leave so they can use the table for somebody else. And I think that's why I enjoyed that experience. But yeah, it could even have been longer than 6 hours, but it was just such a nice experience. Anyway, if you have time, I'm not suggesting you to do it for that long, but that was part of my journey when I worked overseas. I never worked for longer than 6 months without taking a month break. And I wanted to see a lot of Europe. I wanted to expose myself to as many cultures as possible. On my first month trip, I flew from London straight to Tel Aviv, went through, spent 2 days in Israel, went up to Cyprus with ferry and across to Turkey, then over to Greece, Italy, and then back to London. So I've a lot of different cultures, and I planned my trip around that, and that's why the evidence of me having been there, this is prior to cell phones and those kind of cameras, but normal, the old traditional camera. All my photographs in my albums reflect my experiences that I had to different people, exposure to different cultures. That was just me. That's how I enjoyed it. So I enjoyed spending a couple of hours at a specific spot if the vibe was a good one. If I had the similar experience in Paris that I had in New York at Starbucks, I would probably not have stayed at that coffee shop for 6 hours. But yeah, usually businesses nowadays are reluctant to have a customer spend that much time with them unless they spend extensively. Right, the nature of brand contact. It could be, and it's different. It's not just, as I said, not just one thing. It could be the price. It could be the TV commercial that you saw about on the brand. The product itself, how that experience was. So every single interaction, basically, physical, tangible interaction with a product or interaction with a staff member representing the brand qualifies as a point of contact. My apologies, sorry. As I said, I'm not 100%, but I'd quickly like to allow myself just to have a sip of water, if you don't mind. Right. Should be better now. Okay. I think I think you want to have a experience where it's almost like an epiphany. You support a brand often based on the perception that their marketing communication has left you with. If they promise something, for instance, you actually want to experience that promise, and you will rate your experience based on if they actually lived up to their promise, if they delivered what they said. It is very important because the brand's authenticity and credibility depend on its performance at every single point of contact, and not just one. The concept of brand contact and brand contact management implies that every point of contact is designed in such a way, and the delivery is done and implemented in such a way that it actually supports the brand's purpose. Why, in the first place, if this is a courier service, what do you expect from them? What's their purpose? Their purpose is their promise that they will deliver quicker than anybody else. If that then is the case, then your interaction with that brand would have been a great one, and you'll be very, very happy and satisfied as a customer at that point. But it could be that somewhere else, other point of contact was not as meaningful or as satisfactory. True to what we have already identified, and that is, I think in chapter 2, the perception of a brand, or the perception that a customer has about a brand, is offering it to develop a particular unique meaning that that holds value to the customer. Are you prepared to exchange that money that you have in your wallet for the experience that the brand's offering? If it does, then it is you see it as a valuable experience. Then you see that the value that you have parted with, which is the monetary element, the money, is actually worth the product or the service that you received. Okay. Can't reiterate more or enough that your that every single point of contact is important. That you cannot do it in isolation if we want the interaction with the brand to be a satisfactory experience. This is where brand building comes in, and it is a continuous process of chipping away at your relationship with your customers. Every little thing that you do, every effort that you put in adds additional value, or hopefully does add additional value. And the entire brand building effort is only successful if the perceived equals what you actually experience. Why is it such a difficult process to ensure that there is consistency? It is very complex because you first need to design a process that you initially hope will work, that you only know how successful it's been once you've implemented it, and there is feedback on how it was experienced. It could probably not be better summarized than the quote that we show on the slides. A brand is not a promise made, but a promise kept. You will evaluate the brand on the actual delivery and experience. Have they achieved that? They get a few positive ticks in your books, or in your book about how you perceived him as a brand. You know, the first time I actually had a Red Bull, I felt that he did nothing for me. I know that he's not going to give me wings. Okay, that's the kind of thing that they promise, but we know what they imply with that promise. You're not literally going to grow wings and be able to fly. It's just going to make you feel as you have enough energy to actually fly. I just felt nothing. I thought, well, is there something wrong? That was even before they had the caffeine-free Red Bull. So my immediate first experience, and maybe yeah, maybe it's just me, because I mean, I'm not exactly sure what I expected before I had the first one, but I did feel or did expect to have a bit more energy afterwards. And I know we're not talking about, it's not a quick fix. All right, pop a Red Bull and 5 minutes later, I mean, you're bouncing off the wall. But then I also know that some people have had that experience. I'm not sure about you. I mean, I'm not sure if you're Red Bull drinkers or if if any of you are into energy drinks and stuff like that. My son is not hooked on it, but he prefers, if he had a very tough day, to have a Monster, any Monster in the range of energy drinks that they offer, and he believes that it works for him. Now, I think you can obviously, it's also another example I can use is taking a headache tablet. Some people say Disprin, some people have Grandpa, some people have Comprils. I think we often buy into a particular brand because we want to believe that it works for us. We all know that if you look at the ingredients in a headache tablet, that it will actually work for you. But there are people who swear by a specific brand because they had a great experience. They probably have had different headache tablets, and then they tried a specific one and the headache was gone immediately. Maybe the origin of the headache was not was something different. And now they believe that will work for them better than any other one. Do you have any products like that that you almost swear on, that you really believe that they deliver what they said, or what they promised? Anybody had any specific experiences, preferably good ones, but it could also be bad ones, that you've had with a particular brand, where at least they kept their promise, and by using the product you actually experienced what they promised, or even exceeded what they promised?
So I don't know if this counts, but Krispy Kreme's donuts is always like really fresh.
You are 100% correct, and we know why that is also the case. If we compare them to Dunkin' Donuts, for instance, and I think Dunkin' has just been, they've just, yeah, they're probably a more popular brand, but I've had both of them over here and in America. The Dunkin' Donuts in America is slightly better than the ones that we've had here, but not even close to what Krispy Kreme offers. I think it's because of how they are prepared. The Dunkin' Donut is prepared and then frozen and delivered to the different stores, and then they are basically prepared there. The Krispy Kremes are actually, the dough is fresh, and they actually make the donuts there on the day. It's not pre-made and defrosted, and that's probably why it is always fresher. But that is just, yeah, that's two different businesses that have the same product, and we have different experiences with them. I think also the variety of what Krispy Kreme offers is also a benefit. But you're quite right. They say it's going to be fresh, and they definitely live up to it. It for sure is. If you just quickly want some police food, get a Dunkin' Donut. Anybody else? Any other experiences that anybody had that's of significance? What do you guys drink for energy? Or are you just blessed with high levels of natural energy? Do you drink energy drinks? Do you actually think that it gives you extra energy? Have you experienced that it has given you extra energy? Obviously, what do you take to keep awake during an exam or test, for instance, when you have to put in many hours? Energy levels need to be consistent, need to be up. Anybody? You guys don't have any go-to products that you use? Or you use products that we can't repeat on air? No problem whatsoever. Okay. Just also a few images on the screen related to Red Bull. We know that they have different points of contact that they have with their customers. Red Bull is actually, the origin of Red Bull is actually quite interesting. When they launched in America, they decided that the best way to market their products is to go to different cities that have colleges and universities. They went up to and try and identify, asked around who the influencers are, who the popular kids are. So if Caleb says that there's a party in his place tonight, it will be jam-packed. If Nikki says she has a party tomorrow evening, then not as many people will arrive, indicating that that Caleb is a more popular individual. It's almost like that's the party that you can't miss. They identified people like that, and they said, right, all we want you to do is organize a party. We'll actually give you money to organize a party, and we will also stock you with Red Bull. Make sure that Red Bull will be there. You're not paying for it. We want people to actually enjoy it, and it's a serious investment. But that's how it became very popular, because everybody wants to drink what the popular people drink, be it an athlete or be it a celebrity or just a popular individual in your student group, for instance. That's just how the human nature works. Right. I think I probably, I think I've probably done already what we have on the screen, or I at least referred to it. I'll quickly just summarize again. The authenticity and credibility of a brand depends on its ability to deliver on its identity in all that it does. Often, because we are very much a generation that that learns quicker visually, what we hear and what we see has a greater impact to what we actually read, and therefore we see that the most popular way of communicating to the current generation is to repeat a particular commercial or ad or form of communication. Through that repetition, consistency, of course, we find that you identify and analyze and interpret information more effectively that is relevant to you, to actually paint that little picture in your mind of a particular brand. Okay, I'm going to stop here. We've got a minute or two to go, but I think you guys, I don't want to push you for the full session every time. We have another one this afternoon, and also know that you are probably keen on doing your test as well. You do write a test. What module do you write today?
Digital marketing systems.
Ouch. Okay. Are you all prepared? Do you feel prepared? Is it open book?
No, sir, it's on Teams.
Oh my goodness. What time?
1 to 3, sir.
1 to 3 this afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you going to be in any mood to do the session later in the day? We'll just see how many of you pitch. Well, I'll understand now. I'll understand if some of you are absent. You either had a horrible test or you are tired. But thanks for today's session. Thanks for the extra session.
Thank you, sir.
It has been recorded and it will be uploaded for the benefit of everybody that decided to rather study for the test. I'll chat to you later. I will see how many will get together this afternoon. But again, that session will obviously be recorded too. Thanks, everybody. Keep well and good luck with the test.
Thank you, sir.
It's a pleasure.
Bye.